Hi, I'm Rinde from AskRinde, and welcome to the channel where we help with your foreclosure, income, and credit. So if you're going through foreclosure or need multiple streams of income, please download my free Stop Foreclosure Guide by clicking the link below. Oh wait, can you hear them? Can you hear them coming? Yeah. The scammers are coming. So the scammers have arrived. So the coronavirus is here, the recession is here, and many people are trying to figure out how they're actually going to continue to move forward in life. Many people have lost their job. As we've seen, the unemployment is through the roof. It's record numbers, almost going to approaching 30 million people that have filed for unemployment. Small businesses have shut down. Commercial spaces have stopped operating. We're seeing that we have shelter-in-place orders in many states, although they're trying to release and ease restrictions in certain states. But at the end of the day, we're pretty much in a place that we have never been before, and that is having the economy shut down all around the world. So that leads to one thing. You're going to have a lot of people in distress, a lot of people actually in a place of turmoil, simply because they're not having income coming in. So how will they meet their obligation? How will they actually continue to pay for these properties that have these mortgages on them? And that's where the scammers come in. And that's my reason for doing this video. For someone who's been in the business for over 18 years dealing with real estate as a realtor, and also dealing with real estate from helping people from all around the country go through and deal with foreclosure, navigate the process, and come out on the other side successfully. One of the things I've had to deal with throughout these years are scammers. People have actually gone into homes, dealt with people who have actually been down and out and taken advantage of them. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about this topic, because I have seen literally hell with this type of situation. From dealing with this since 2002, I still can't wrap my mind around how people can actually approach a homeowner, someone who has a family and going through distress and going through turmoil, and then on purpose set them up so that they can extract what they can out of them, out of that family, knowing that they're not going to be able to help them and knowing that they're never intending to help them. So I'm not saying that all companies out there that are doing this are scammers, but I will share with you that there's a good portion of them that are. So my goal in this video is to share with you 4 red flags to know whether or not you are working with a loan modification scammer, you have been scammed, or you have a company courting you that's looking to scam you. So number 1, and we're going to get the elephant out of the room with this one, and that would be retainers. So loan modification scammers come in all shapes and sizes. Some of them will come at you from the aspect of looking legal. They'll appear to be like a law firm or some practice. Some of them will come at you from an aspect of a nonprofit, that they're a government-sanctioned organization that's meant to be able to facilitate this. And then also some of them will come at you from an aspect of corporate. And so they come in all different ways. So they normally start out by giving you a testimonial. They'll have a success story for someone who's worked with them to be able to highlight to you the benefits of working with their company. They want to be able to show you the potential of what they can do for you that you can't do for yourself. So they'll use that testimonial and they'll circulate that either via letters that they'll send you to direct mail, or they'll use Facebook ads, Instagram ads, market on social media, or they'll do TV ads. Some even have gone as far as doing billboard ads depending on their budget and if they have the backing for it. But this is something that you have to understand, that there are people out there that set up these businesses because they know how the process works. Instead of using their knowledge to be able to genuinely help people, they're using this to be able to package their hope and give it to people, but they don't intend to be able to follow through. So they're banking on using that testimonial and the proof that they've worked with someone and it was successful to be able to draw you in. And they also know that if you're not seeing this, that maybe someone you know has seen it or heard about it, and then they'll come tell you. So that's like a word of mouth marketing as well. So all of that testimony, all of that synergy, and all that energy that they're building up is leading up to prepare you so that when you get a chance to speak to them, they're going to be actually going down the line with you and telling you about all these different things that they're going to be able to do to be able to help you get set up to do a loan modification. All of that leads up to the retainer. But I have to actually give you the breakdown and share with you how things play out, because a lot of times these types of masters are converting you from an unbeliever to a believer, meaning that many times when they approach, you're skeptical, and then they lead you through this path so that they can lead you from a path of skepticism to optimism, to trusting them. and believing them. And I've seen so many families and helped so many people that have actually gone down this path and have had great disappointment. So a typical example would be, let's say you have a close family member that knows your situation, and then they heard about it from another friend that may have either gotten help or their friend or family got help, and they call you up and they say, this company, we heard about them, they do this and do that, give them a call, try them out, see, what it is. Now you already have gotten that proof from a friend, so it's validated because your friend called you. It's not like you got a piece of mail or you saw it online or something that's not believable. You got an endorsement from someone who referred, and so what happens is when you call them, you're actually up here already, and now you're ready to listen. You're wanting to see what options there are and really how they lay things out. Because most times when you go into a loan modification, people don't know what they're to expect. They know that there's a loss mitigation package that they order from the bank. The bank sends it to them. The bank asks for certain documents. The bank wants to know your hardship. They ask for certain things that you need to provide. And you just send it in. The bank's going to review all that stuff, and then they're going to in turn give you a decision. So the scammers know this. They know the procedure and the process of what the bank will be looking for as part of a loss mitigation situation that you're trying to put through to be able to save your home and save your situation. So their goal is to be able to convince you to be able to turn everything over to them. So instead of you trying to do it on your own, you turn everything over to them so that they can do it. So when they actually build you up and they show you their system, they show you the process of how they've been able to help other people, and then also show you the process of what they can do as far as how packaged and how put together their paperwork is, whatever it is, then they hit you with the retainer. And that varies. I've seen people charge as high as almost $10,000 for doing a loan modification. Yes, and that's not just from third-party companies, that's also from attorneys. So this is an area that you have to be very cautious about what you're doing, and you have to actually watch things very closely. A lot of times people will get put in a position where they get built up by all the language and all the persuasion that these companies and these attorneys are giving, and then what they'll do is they'll set them up and they'll say, look, just leave it to me. We'll follow it up. We got it covered. And what happens is the person is trusting that they've got it covered. And so they turn everything over to them. And that's the worst mistake that you can make. And they're counting on the fact that they know that you will turn things over to them. So that's why they hit you with the retainer. So whatever the retainer is, whatever the amount is, whether it's $200 to $10,000 to $5,000, whatever the amount is, you should not be paying a retainer to anyone that cannot guarantee you something. You're paying someone for something that they cannot guarantee you. I mean, that makes no sense. I understand that you're in a place of stress. I understand that you're in a place of hopelessness and you need help. You don't really know what you're doing. You don't know how to actually put this together. Maybe you've been denied for a loan modification several times, and you keep trying, you keep getting denied, and maybe you were denied 2 or 3 times, and then you finally say, you know what, maybe I'm doing something wrong with my submission, so I'm going to go ahead and just bite the bullet. I have this money saved. I have this money. I haven't been paying my mortgage, so I have this money saved, and I'm just going to go ahead and start this process. And a lot of people fall into this category. And the thing about it is that these companies are banking on the fact that they know that you haven't made a mortgage payment because they can see, especially when these filings are done. The list pendants of filing, you know how long people haven't paid their mortgage. You know how many months they've gone by. And if the person is still working, they have some savings, or they should have savings, let me say that. But the reality is the fact that that's that person's hard-earned money that they've saved up and they've basically earned through their sweat. And what you're doing is you're positioning them to be able to set them up so you can take a portion of that. They don't want all the money. They just want a portion that they can take while you're going down. So the big problem that I've seen here with these retainers is the fact that many times they'll take these retainers, and what they'll do is they'll start the process. And many times, because of the way the court systems work, whether you're in a judicial or the non-judicial state, that process, they're banking on the fact that there will be a time that the court or another third party has to get involved. And truthfully, the scammers are really primarily banking on one thing, and that is your mortgage servicer. They know that whatever you're submitting to them and giving to them to be able to start the process for you has to go to the servicer. So what they can do is basically just blame whatever delays there are on the servicer. So no matter how communicative they are, some of them, they'll take your retainer and they'll drop off the face of the earth. Some of them will talk to you every day, and they'll keep telling you the same story. We sent the paperwork in, we're waiting to hear from the bank. And then, you have some that will put you on a monthly schedule where they'll take a retainer and then you have to pay them X amount every month. But then some of them will actually put you on a 50-50 thing where they'll take half up front and then half when you get approval or you're leading up to getting approval. Whatever the setup is, like I shared before, it's a no. No retainer, because you can't pay out something to someone that they can't guarantee you. And there's not in their position and in their place or in their power to guarantee a loan modification. If they could guarantee a loan modification, then there'll be no need for us to actually do this video. But because so many people I've dealt with have gotten scammed over the years by these companies, I highly recommend that you think twice before giving anyone a dime of your hard-earned money to be able to do a loan modification. Now, we'll share with you at the end of the video what to do if you've already given someone a retainer, about to give someone a retainer, or thinking of it in the future. Number 2, third-party authorizations. So many times when the loan modification scammers approach you and you actually engage with them, you guys get to a dialogue, and they've gotten you to a point where you guys agree to be able to do and work together. Well, after the retainer, the first thing they're going to need from you in order to be able to start the process or part of the paperwork that will be included in their package will be something called a third-party authorization form. That third-party authorization form gives them the ability to be able to contact the servicer and the bank on your behalf. So most times the form actually will include your loan number, it will include the address of the property, it will also include their information, their phone number, and the authorization from you to them, to authorizing them to be able to discuss dealings with your account. And generally at the bottom it will include your full Social Security or your last 4 digits of your Social Security and a date. And the authorization is absolutely necessary because the lender and the servicer can't discuss anything with your bank without written authorization from you to be able to talk to any third party, which they're going to be a third party. The mistake most people make is the fact that when they write up these authorizations, they never put an end date on it. So it's kind of like giving someone a blank open authorization on your account for as long as you have it. As long as there's no end date on the authorization, then they can continue to call in your account, even maybe after you all stop working together. Keep this in mind that obviously it's business, so you want to make sure you keep in the back of your mind that whatever you're doing, you may be working with this person for a season. Obviously, you don't plan to be in foreclosure forever, but it is a tedious, very stressful, long-term process. And so what happens is you may have to switch and work with different people. Well, if you're working with different people, or if you decided that things go sour and the person is a scammer, they still have your third-party authorization. They still have access to your account. It's a big mistake that I've seen a lot of people make. I've had to help a lot of clients unravel some of the fraud that's been created and some of the issues that have been created by actually giving these people their information. Because not only do they have your social, but you're also giving them full authorization in your account endlessly. So you need to make sure that when you actually give them the third-party authorization, that you put a stop date on it. Make sure that you give them a limited date, and you can always renew that authorization with the servicer and with them as time goes on. And I do recommend 30-day blocks, because if they are genuine, you want to be able to weed out the people who are genuine from the ones that are scammers. Because the genuine ones will actually update. They'll be willing to update the third-party authorization and get you to actually authorize them to keep the file moving forward. So what happens a lot of times when they get this money from you, some of them stop. They don't do anything. They get the money, they get the third-party authorization, and their goal is to continue to tell you every day you call, anytime you call, that yeah, the file is in process, the file is in process. It went to the bank, we're waiting on the servicer. And what they're doing is they're looking at their calendar. They know they've got the retainer from you, and they know that they've either got another payment coming. So their goal is to probably get 2 payments out of you, and they'll ride it out as long as they can, depending on how big of a retainer they took from you. If they took a $2,500 retainer or $5,000 retainer, some of them, that's good for them. So they don't have any reason to continue to string you along. They'll probably just come back to you, and then once you get the denial, they'll say, well, oh well, you got denied. So you have to be cautious when you're doing a third-party authorization to make sure that you put a date on there. Number 3, no recourse. So you want to make sure that whatever agreement you enter into with the loan modification company that claims to be positioned to help you, you want to make sure that they don't have any language in there that includes exonerating them of any legal actions should in case they not perform or should in case they try to defraud you. So it's important that whatever agreement these companies present you to be able to sign to help you do your loan modification, that you actually read through all the legal language. Many times they'll set people up from the beginning to fail because they put language in there that exonerates them from any legal ramifications should in case your case not go through, should in case you be denied for the loan modification, should in case you lose your house or it not work out. They also put language in there that sets you up so that if you do take in the small claims court, that they actually have a leg up. Because the attorneys, when you get to small claim court and you actually have signed a document that says that you're not going to sue them, that they're not liable for anything that happens out of your case, when you go to small claim court, they're going to put you in mediation first. And what will happen is that during that mediation process, if the person has an attorney or the company has an attorney or they're representing themselves, if they're an individual that's doing this, they're going to say you signed this document. And if it goes through mediation and arbitration and it has to go to court trial, the judge is going to look at that too and say, well, you were a legal mind, you signed this document, did you or did you not? So understand that the language that's in there, you want to make sure that if they are legitimate, they can remove that, have them strike it out. If they're not willing to, then you know that you have a liability in your hands, you have a potential fraudster and scammer on your hands that may take you. So if the person is legit and the company is legit, they should be willing to be able to, be responsible. They should be willing to be able to work with you, understanding that you're in a place of desperation, understanding you're in a place of, fear, so to speak, and not knowing really what the future holds. You want to make sure that you're not taking money and just dumping it out and wasting your time, which you don't have. And that leads me to my fourth and final point, and that is they leave you worse off than you were before. Yes. So many times people have gotten into these agreements with these companies and then they find themselves in a situation where if things don't work out, the most important thing that they've lost is time. Because you might have started working with this company that's supposedly going to help you, and they've been in this process and dragging things along for months. And back then, had you actually had a concrete solution, you would have actually gained time by dealing with things earlier than wasting your time floundering around with a company that was not actually going to take you anywhere. And so you've lost valuable time, and depending on whether you're in a judicial or non-judicial state, you may now be within the grips of the bank and their timeline. You always want to do things with foreclosure before you lose the control of time. Because foreclosure is all about two things, money and time. Those are the two things about foreclosure. All the other things are affected and are offshoots of it. The emotional baggage, the problems, the pain, the depression, the distress that we have, all of those things come from that. But the two things about foreclosure are money and time. And so why they actually make things worse for you and why it's such a crucial point is because your time is valuable. When you are in these types of situations, you need to make sure that you're using every moment and making it count. So you cannot spend time with any company, any diversion that will not lead you to the path of success, which is getting a loan modification done successfully. And so many times they will tie things up. They will continue to shuffle paperwork around. I've seen loan modification scammers tie some people up for almost a year. The time that they would have had, tie them up for a year, and then the person ends up losing the home. So the timing is key, and that's the first one. The second one is your credit. Many times these fraudsters, these scammers are tied into other organizations and other people that are like-minded just like them. So these people have your social, they have your address, they have all your information, they have your banking information, they're working with you on this process. So you're generally going to give them things like tax returns, you're going to give them things like bank statements, you're giving them all your financials, all your vital documents. The only thing you're probably not giving them is your actual birth certificate. Some do request that. But the reality is that they have all your vital information. Some of them have sold that information, in my experience. We've dealt with things where we've had to have investigations that involve the authorities to be able to unravel some of the chaos that people's lives have been put into in turmoil because of these scammers. So it's something to be very much aware and beware of, to make sure that you do not lose and be worse off than when you started working with them. You need to make sure that you're not working with a scammer, you're not working with anyone that's going to compromise your family and yourself and your records and your identity. So many of the people that I've dealt with that have helped out of these situations, some of them have experienced identity theft, where they've actually had all their credentials matched or stolen, and they somehow end up with identity theft situation on their hands. There are many things that can tie into this. You just need to be very much aware, be very careful of what you're doing. So with all of this, how do you protect yourself? You need help. You can't stay still. You've been in a situation, you're distressed, you're hopeless, you're feeling like everything is going to fall apart, and then maybe you have people depending on you, maybe you have children, maybe you have a family, you don't know what to do. Sometimes these things in foreclosures cause divorces, they cause rifts in family, they cause death in some cases, or a result of death. So much that are tied into this, and there's a range of emotions and thoughts and fears that are flying back and forth, and you have to do something. So how do you actually move forward with the fact that there are scammers out there, and maybe the group or the person that you're working with right now maybe checks off 1, 2, 3, or all 4 of these red flags? You need to know your position. You need to know where you are. You need to know if you're working with a scammer, someone who has scammed you, someone that is looking to scam you, and if you're in a place where you need to recover things or you need to cover yourself from all bases, what do you do? How do you move forward? Well, it's very simple. It boils down to one word, and that's trust. You need to have a trusted source to be able to actually at least have review your situation so that you can actually know, okay, I will then take this step and work with this company. Okay, I'll take this step and I'll move this direction. And that's where we would like to help you. So I'd like you to actually reach out to us so that we can actually help you look at your situation and see where you are, what road you're headed down, look at if you're possibly working with a scammer, but primarily look at your synopsis of what you're looking to turn into the servicer to help you either keep your home or get a loan modification, get a new rate, get a new mortgage payment, a lower payment, mortgage amount, whatever it is that you're looking to try to do or you need to do at this season in your life. So you can definitely reach out to us for help. You can start out by downloading my free stock foreclosure guide by clicking the link below. And we'll actually, on the last page, you'll see a form that you can actually fill out, and that sends us your information. Once we get that, we'll reach out to you so we can talk to you and actually see where you are and give you kind of like a step forward of what to do if you're dealing with a situation where you have to get a loan modification, have had a loan modification previously, need another one, and you've been struggling with the mortgage servicer to be able to get one, and you're giving up and you said, like, you know what, I need help, but you feel like, you know, all that you have in your area you're being approached with are skeptical. You're skeptical about moving forward with them, and you really just need a filter to be able to know, is this legitimate or not? So we'd love to help you. We'd love to hear from you. Please also, if you have had any loan modification scam stories, we'd like to, you know, hear your stories in the comment section. Also, let me know your thoughts of what you think about basically being scammed and what to watch out for. If you have any tips that we can share with the audience, that would be great as well. You can leave a comment below in the comment section. And also, I'd like to hear from you guys. Let me know what you'd like to hear about more about foreclosure, income, or credit. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Until next time, thank you so much for watching.